Have you lost your confidence as a parent? Do you often doubt or second guess your decisions and no longer trust your own instincts about what your child needs? In fact, do you find that you spend a lot of time thinking that you simply don't know what to do or how to respond to your child and feel lost? If so, and this is how you've been feeling, then today's podcast is just for you. I'll be diving into the doubts that knock our confidence, where they come from, and the impact of them on your mind, your physical health, your life, and your success in other parts of your life, as well as parenting. I'll also be sharing with you why you actually are the best mother for your child. You know, I have proof, so you're going to want to hear this. And how to parent with amazing confidence. So this is going to be an amazing podcast. I know you're going to love it. So let's get straight into it, inshallah. Welcome to the Happy Home Podcast, where we help Muslim mothers create success and happiness in their personal, professional and family life and raise their children as happy, pious and productive Muslims. My name is Sayed-Hossen and I am your host and the founder of the Happy Home Institute. Assalamu alaikum. So in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about why you are the best mother for your child. Now, that might be a far cry from where you are right now. You may have thoughts about how you're not really cut out to be a mother, or how your children would be better off without you. You may have even thought, maybe someone else should have been their mother. Maybe your child who says, I wish you were not my mother, and they seem closer to other females in the family. Or you struggle to have a relationship with your children because you were not particularly close to your own parents and feel uncertain as to how to be a parent. These are very common doubts that pass through almost every mother's mind. So if you had these thoughts, let me tell you, my sister, it doesn't mean they're actually true. They're just a thought. They just crossed your mind. In fact, I can tell you they're actually not true. And you are absolutely the best mother for your children. You were chosen by the Creator Himself, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, to be the mother of your child. Imagine that. Out of all the mothers in the world, you were chosen. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala does not make any mistakes. So you are absolutely the best mother for your children, whether or not you see that right now. So in today's podcast, what I want to tell you is how you can start believing in yourself. If this is where you're at, if you're struggling and you're doubting yourself, how you can start believing in yourself and increasing in your confidence. But also, before I do that, I want to share with you why you can never allow yourself to lose belief in yourself and your abilities to be an amazing mother. Because these doubts and many others are the first steps that knock down your confidence. As soon as you start doubting yourself, you start losing confidence in your decisions, in your instinct about how to parent your child, or what's really going on with them and what to do next. You'll lose confidence in your instincts about what your child needs from you. Suddenly you won't know what to do. You won't know what to give them. You'll lose confidence in your ability to deal with your children's behaviour effectively. How do I respond? What do I do? What punishment shall I give? Or consequence? Or what do I say? And it spreads to even your ability to carry out the day-to-day duties as a mother, getting them to school on time, helping them with their homework. It becomes like a disease that just spreads into the rest of your life, the rest of your parenting, and different parts of your life. So it may start with parenting and it creeps into, your ability to be a wife and your ability to run your home, for example. So, that's the impact of self-doubt. And when you start feeling, when you start feeling very doubtful in your abilities, what you soon starts to happen is you start feeling like a failure. And the basics that you were otherwise doing well, suddenly you feel like you can't do it. And the reason for that is when you say to yourself, I can't do this, what happens is the mind almost shuts down and doesn't show you how to do it, because it's like an instruction to your mind. Don't do it. A bit similar to lifting weights. When you say to yourself, well, maybe I can't lift those weights, then the muscles shut down as the response, and you can't lift those weights. So whatever you say I can't do, your mind takes that as an instruction as to say don't do. And that's what really happens. So therefore, your mind doesn't show you solutions, doesn't show you, how to overcome it. You start to feel foggy. And you won't be able to think of, a solution to the most simple problems that you're facing, because of the doubts that have crept in that led you to believe, well, I can't actually do this. Have you felt like this? Have you ever felt, doubtful in certain areas of your life, that you are unable to do simple things in? And you can maybe see from that how it started from the doubts, and before you knew it, you were really struggling. I mean, this happened with me with making tea when I got married. It's quite funny, actually, but, it started when I told myself I can't make tea, and it was because I was making tea sometimes, and the family that I was making tea for, they didn't finish their tea, so I started thinking, well, maybe my tea's not very good, maybe I can't make tea. And as I started to do that, I'd get very nervous when I'd be making tea. I'd overboil it, or let it brew for too long or not long enough, and that's what was happening. So the more I was doubting myself, the more I was making mistakes in something very simple, something that I had done for many years. And slowly, as that started happening, I became very nervous about cooking and, how my food would turn out. And the more I became nervous, the more I was unable to kind of do simple things, until I realised what was going on, learnt what I now teach, and was able to overcome that. But it happens to many of us. I had a client who really believed she couldn't cook because her ex-husband always criticised her cooking, compared her to his mum, and that led her to having years and years of procrastination around cooking. She'd put it off to the last minute, wouldn't want to do it, didn't know what to cook, would take ages cooking, and then just really, it became such a headache for her until she learned to overcome her self-doubts, too. I had another client who was married into a Pakistani family, and, really struggled to make her rotis round. But she somehow, believed that, if she could make round rotis, it would prove that she was good enough to be accepted as his wife. And the more that she struggled with thinking that she couldn't do it, the more she couldn't. A simple task seemed really complex for her, even though she was a very intelligent and successful woman in all areas of her life. The more she believed she couldn't, the more it affected her identity, as a wife, the feeling of being accepted, and her rotis were delicious. But anyway, I got to taste them once. But yes, so you see, when we start to doubt ourselves, it affects our ability to do that task or role. It also affects our identity and our worth, in that particular area of our life. And so if this has happened to you, then you know what I'm talking about. If those examples ring a bell, or different ones in any areas of your life, simple areas of your life, you're probably laughing now thinking, okay, perhaps it's become more difficult than it needs to. Because in reality, look, anyone and everyone is capable of cooking, making tea, making rotis round. If we just take away those self-doubts, we can just focus on the job in hand and follow some instructions if we didn't know how to, and use our initiative. And it's possible for any one of us. How does something so simple become complicated? When we start doubting ourselves. Doubts, they create a mind fog. They really make it difficult to see. When we become consumed with doubts, what it does is you spend more time in your head and away from reality. It takes you away from being present, with what's going on at the moment. You could be doing a task, but the whole time, rather than focusing on the task, you're thinking about how you're going to mess it up or how hard it is to get it right. And because your mind is elsewhere, you can't focus on what you're doing. And that's why you're not getting the results you want. Also, that mind fog can lead to our behavior being quite sabotaging for ourselves, because you might not be, when you're in that place where you're doubting yourself, where your mind is elsewhere, where you're feeling like a failure, you're scared to fail, you won't necessarily react in the best way either, because your mind is so busy with all of those thoughts and so far away from what's happening right now. Many times you might find you're getting frustrated with your children because they're making noise, and all you want is just to be able to find a little bit of peace in your mind, because your mind is full of doubt swirling around, that you just feel like, I just need a moment of peace. I just need a moment of peace. But is it a moment of peace from your children or a moment of peace from those doubts? You'll probably find it's from the doubts. You might also find that you're constantly wanting to be alone and having alone time because you're trying to figure out something, trying to figure out how to do the thing you're struggling to do, how to stop, struggling, and wanting space to figure that out. So therefore, rather than embrace your parenting and do your parenting, you end up stepping away from it, trying to have space away from the children. And that's sabotaging when the thing you're doubting is your ability to parent. So I want you to imagine this. Imagine that, suddenly you start doubting yourself as being able to be a natural parent, able to be a good mother. And the more that, you start thinking like that, the more the doubts grow. You find proof in your day-to-day life. You've messed this up. You sent them to school with odd socks. You forgot to do their homework, and all of a sudden now suddenly you're like, oh yeah, you're not very good at this. You start feeling like a failure. And then because of that, well, that's not very motivating, is it? You lose confidence, you lose motivation. You're dragging your feet to the simplest of tasks. You put things off. And as you start doubting yourself, you also start, doubting your decisions, and you start then changing your mind often. So you say yes and you say no, and your kids don't know what to expect from you or where the boundaries are. Also, you might get a bit frustrated with yourself and your children, so you start being a bit harsh in your consequences, but then that just leads you to feeling guilty. And then either you take back your consequence or you give back whatever you took away. And so then again, you're not being a clear leader in your parenting. And so your children feel it, they can sense your doubts, and they stop respecting your authority. And even then, that's even more proof to you that, hey, look, I'm a failure. And the more you feel like a failure, the more you struggle. And it's a vicious cycle. And where did it start? It started with those self-doubts. So can you see, my sister, the impact of self-doubts and why you can't allow yourself to doubt yourself? It really is the fastest way to bring down your ability to parent your child. Never believe these doubts. Why? Because you were chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be your children's mother. Being a mother, actually, no matter how hard and challenging it is, it helps you to become the best you can be. It really helps you to become more patient, more thoughtful of the other person, more focused on, your goals. It helps you to overcome issues that you've probably been avoiding and burying. It helps you, in so many ways, and it raises your status in our deen. So in fact, you were chosen, but it doesn't make it naturally easy, but it doesn't mean you're not a natural mother. It just means that you may need to overcome some hurdles or some challenges, or you may need to learn how to deal with, maybe difficult behaviour, rebellious children, family challenges, etc. You just may need some support there, but please don't take it to mean you can't do this. Because, we are all capable by the grace and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who created us to be more capable than we realise. So we are capable of doing almost anything that we want to do. And it's whatever you put your mind to. You're very capable. It may be that it doesn't come so easily to you. For example, some people may be naturally good at, English subjects, for example, and some more capable of and not so good at maths, or vice versa, right? You hear that often. But does that mean if you are good at English, you can't do maths? No, absolutely you can. But you may need to learn how to do it. It may just be a little bit more tricky. You may need to understand. You may need to practice more. But it doesn't mean you're not capable. We're all capable of being, to achieve whatever we want to achieve. We may just need to dedicate a little bit more time to it, a little bit more focus to it. It may not come so easily to you, but as long as you believe in yourself and you're willing to learn what you need to know, you can achieve any goal you set your mind to. But you need both. You need the self-belief, so you need to believe you can, and then you need to be able to go and learn and be willing to learn what you need to learn. That's it. It's that simple. So if you have got to the point, my sister, where you realise you need help with your parenting, then come and join my parenting school, and I'll show you how to deal with situations and challenges that you're facing, how to be so confident that your child trusts your decisions. Simply just book a consultation with me by clicking the link below, and then we can have a chat and discuss how I can help you overcome the challenges you're facing and help you reach the goals you have in your family life, in your professional life, in your personal life, and we'll make a plan of how we can work together, inshallah. And if all the appointments are taken or you can't find a suitable time, do send me an email at happyhomecoaching.com, and we'll arrange a suitable time. Also, if you've benefited from this podcast, please do like and share and subscribe for future episodes and details of training and free workshops that I'll be doing, and other forms of free help and support for you, and details of how my upcoming programs and how we can work together too. So hope you've benefited, inshallah, and we will leave it there. I really hope from today you've taken away how believing in those thoughts, accepting them, pondering on them is likely to be the cause of your struggles, and the root of them, and how you can start to change that by really believing that yes, you can, with Allah's help, anything is possible, and you are the best person for the job. We'll leave it there. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.